Hi, my name is Henry and I'm a data analyst with hands-on experience in SQL, Python, and data visualization. In this video, I'll be answering a few questions to demonstrate my understanding of the key concepts from the program and how I would apply them in real-world scenarios. So let's get started. So first question, what does the CRISP DM methodology for data mining entail? What does the data analyst do in each step? So the CRISP DM stands for Cross Industry Standard Process for Data Mining. It's a well-structured framework, guides the entire data analysis process, and there are 6 steps involved in this. So the first one is business understanding. So you need to understand the project goals from the business perspective and define the problem. The second step is to data understanding. So here you need to collect the data, explore the structure, and identify potential quality issues or pattern. The third step is data preparation. So when we collect the data, we will have to clean and structure the data for modeling, including handling missing values and creating features. The next step will be modeling. So after preparing the data, we will select and apply appropriate modeling techniques like decision trees or regression. So after modeling, we will now have to evaluate the model accuracy. So here we talk about evaluation. So we're assessing model accuracy and the relevance to ensure that it meets the business objectives. The last step will be deployment. So here, after going through the above steps, we have to deliver the results through dashboards, reports, and then integrated tools so that they can be used in decision making. As a data analyst, I often revisit earlier steps as a new insight or requirement emerge because Scripts DM ensures the logical flow and helps align technical work with business. Um, Second question is explain what needs to be done before you can do forecast time series. So in other words, what does time series analysis involve? Before forecasting the time series, it's essential to prepare and explore the data thoroughly. And because time series analysis involves first of all checking for stationarity, sorry. So stationary time series has consistent statistical properties over time. And if data is not stationary, we need to apply transformations or differencing. The next one is decomposing the series. So this separates the data into trends, seasonality, and residual components. Next one is identifying patterns. So here we are spotting cycles, we are spotting spikes or irregularities, and this helps us to select the right model. The next one will be splitting the data. So we are now going to split data into training and test it to evaluate the performance. So after preparation, I can apply models like ARIMA or exponential smoothing and then assess the accuracy using metrics like MAE or RMSC. So these steps ensure that the forecast is not just accurate but also interpretable, sorry, and align with business needs. And the third question is discuss the main principles of data ethics, as well as what companies or organizations could do to uphold these principles. So first of all, data ethics is about using data in ways that are fair, respectful, and then responsible. So, and the main principles include the privacy, that's protecting individuals' personal information and using it only when with consent. Let, the second principle is also fairness. So, ensuring that models don't introduce or amplify biases. And the next is also transparency. That also means that clearly explaining how data collected is going to be used. And next is accountability. So accountability is taking responsibility for the decisions that you make with the data. To uphold all these principles, mentioned principle, companies should conduct regular audits for bias or fairness use, diverse data sets to reduce representation of use of diverse data to reduce representation of bias, create internal ethics guidelines to build explainability into AI models. By doing so, organizations can build trust and avoid harm to individuals or communities. Fourth question is, imagine an analyst in a financial company and you have some concerns about bias in a way that predictive models were measured. How would you raise your concern with your manager? Make some suggestions for how you avoid measurement bias in the future. So if I notice signs of bias in a model, I would gather evidence, such as performance discrepancies across different user groups. And then I'll also schedule a meeting with my manager and explain the issue respectfully. For example, I notice our credit risk model underperforms for applicants over 60. I believe this could indicate bias due to the representation in the training set. So I'll suggest actions like balancing the data set or reviewing future selection of indirect bias, applying fairness metrics like the spread impact ratio, using explainable tools like SHARP to interpret models' behavior. So this kind of proactive communication helps create more ethical and effective models. The third question is, explain the difference between regression and classification models in predictive analysis. So use when will we actually use these models over the other? Regression and classification are two main types of supervised machine learning models. So regression is used when the target variable is continuous. Then, for example, predicting a customer's future spending. And classification is used when the target variable is categorical. So, for example, predicting whether a customer will churn or not. So the choice depends on the question you are trying to answer. Use regression for numerical predictions like sales forecasting or pricing, and use classification for binary or multi-class decisions. So, like fraud detection or customer segmentation, in many projects, I'll use both models depending on the business objective. So it means that you can use either of them depending on the business objective and the nature of the outcome that you will need to predict. Thank you very much for your time.